Thank you. Good evening. Welcome to the Conservation Commission meeting of January 15th, 2025. The Wareham Conservation Commission will hold a meeting under Chapter 131, Section 40 of the General Laws of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts Wetland Protection Act, the Town of Wareham Wetland Protection Bylaw, Division 6, and any other applicable laws. All hearings of the Wareham Conservation Commission are held simultaneously under the authorities of the Massachusetts Wetland Protection Act and the Town of Wareham Wetland Protection Bylaw, Division 6. Although a single decision of the Commission is issued, it represents a separate decision under each authority. All matters listed may involve a decision and possible vote. For those that picked up the agenda from the town website, it has the date of January 15th, 2024. I declare that to be a Scribner's error, and it should be January 15th, 2025. At the last meeting, we had a member that had not been sworn in as a full voting member vote. So I will take a motion that all votes taken at the December 18th meeting be reduced from 500 to 400, representing that one vote was not authorized to be taken.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
In that, before I arrived late, making it a 4 quorum, we had, one more thing. I do want to introduce yourselves, please. I forgot that.
Scott Sobey.
Paula Jean O'Neill.
Autumn Wood.
Sandy Slavin.
Kwame Body.
I declare a quorum present and we have a valid meeting. 3 hearings were taken on at the beginning of the 18th, in which the vote with this reduction would have been 300, which did not represent a quorum. So we are going to take those 3 hearings now and vote on them as a valid hearing. John Belford at 23 Winslow Lane. An applicant is proposing to rebuild an existing deck in land subject to coastal storm flowage. I believe it was a affirmative vote, so if someone could make the motion.
I vote that we approve this project, RDA 69, it was with a -3 and a -6.
So
Okay.
moved.
That's the motion, and I've seconded. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstained? The vote would be 400. I did see the tape. The next hearing was Paul Summers, 25 Oak Street. It was sorry, I'll get it right. It was continued until tonight, so I'll need a motion to continue
Motion to continue to tonight.
to January 15th. So the
January
motion is to continue until the 15th. I need a vote.
Second.
Second.
It's all right, I'm here for you.
I'm not. I have a motion and a second to continue until the 15th. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, 400. 61 Oak Street, Jacob Lowell. I believe it was voted to continue until the 15th. I need a motion to make that happen.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained. So that is continued. I believe that takes care of all the cleanup we had from the 15th meeting. Josh, did I miss anything? Christine, did I miss anything?
No.
Okay, so we will now start with our public hearing, and please, Kwame, the first hearing.
I think you want Autumn.
That's me.
We get it. We're gonna do it.
Sorry, folks, I will get my act together. I will, okay.
I mean,
Autumn.
you want me to read it?
No, Autumn, it's her job.
Notice of public hearing. Pursuant to the provisions of the Massachusetts Wetland Protection Act, General Laws, Chapter 131, Section 40, and the Wareham Wetland Protective Bylaw, Division 6, a public hearing will be held in Room 520, Wareham Multi-Service Center, 48 Marion Road, Wareham, Massachusetts, on Wednesday, January 15th, 2025 at 6 p.m. On the request for determination of applicability for Rebecca Trabeau, P.O. Box 119, East Wareham, Mass. 02538. Building House, map 25023, C0493 3K, Lot 43-1050, 11 Knowles Ave, East Wareham, Massachusetts. I motion to open the hearing.
I have a motion.
Second.
Second, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstained? We are 400 to open the hearing. Is there anybody here representing this project? Please come forward. Did you hear from them?
Last I heard from them, she needed to get the abutter notifications out, but I haven't heard anything since.
Okay, our next meeting is 2/5, correct?
Yes.
January 5th, so I'll take them. Should we table it, or you haven't heard anything?
Oh, we haven't heard anything. She asked for assistance with the abutter notifications. We told her to come in and see us, and we never saw her. So
Okay,
I
I'll-
would continue to your
I'll
next
take a
meeting.
motion to continue until 2/5.
So moved.
I need a second.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to continue this hearing until February 5th. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed, abstains. We're continued to 2/5 and a vote of 400. All right. Autumn, next one, please.
On the request for determination of applicability for Stephen Goulston, 1520 Washington Street, Stoughton, Mass. 02072, remove and replace deck, no change in footprint. Map R30, Lot 50AS2A, 38 Wonkinkoa, Wareham, Mass. I motion to open the hearing.
Thank you, very good. I didn't
Nice
think
job
you'd
with
get
that.
Wonkinko.
I said it differently than that.
Oh, I have a motion to open the hearing.
Second.
I have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed, abstained. The hearing is open. Anybody here representing this project, come forward, please. Yes.
Just swear in Christine or Josh?
No.
Okay. Oh, that's okay.
Do it now.
Okay. Please remain standing and raise your right hand, and I swear to tell the truth, nothing but the truth for this article on 38 Wonkinko. Please be seated and identify yourselves. No, you can be seated and identify yourselves.
My name is Lori Phillips. I represent Mario's Roofing, siding and windows for Stephen Golston.
Okay, thank you. Now, Josh and Christine, please raise your right hand. I swear to tell the truth, nothing but the truth on our articles being discussed and voted on tonight.
I do.
Thank you.
I do.
Thank you. It's been, never mind. All right. Who wants to start talking to us about this project?
I would like to speak, if that's okay. Basil came to us to build a new deck. I do have to say that the deck is 8 by 8 originally. We are changing it to 8 by 15. We staked everything out to show where it's going to come out. I don't know if you need to see a copy of the pictures, if you do not have one.
There was, no, it ain't, the deck exists right now, you're just going to expand it.
Yes.
But it says no change to the footprint. Does that mean
We are going to bring it out. We are going to extend it.
and is this in flood zone or 30 flood zone?
It's flood zone
Flood zone only.
only.
Flood zone only. So it will be from 8 to 8 to 8 by 15. Anything else you want to say before we ask the questions?
Nope, that will be it until I hear your questions.
All right. Kwame,
Since you're expanding it, there was, did I see stairs in the PDF? I forget, I couldn't see. Stairs, right?
I didn't see stairs. I saw the,
Stairs? There's just a deck, no stairs going down?
no, because if you notice that, it is really just quite level with the,
I
Yeah.
think it's just almost ground level, maybe
Yeah.
one step up onto the
It
deck.
is, yeah.
It is.
No stairs? Oh, good.
okay.
you.
Autumn,
No questions, thank you.
Thank you.
Paula Jean,
No questions, thank you.
Scott,
No questions, thank you.
Christine, any comments?
No.
Anybody in the audience or online would like to comment on this project? Please come forward and identify yourself. Okay, please have a seat and talk into the mic.
I can move down.
We'll have to switch the microphone for you.
And if you wouldn't mind just spelling your last name for our record taker.
MC, capital M-A-H-O-N hyphen C-O-T-E.
Thank you. And your comments, please.
Well, my comments are that the deck is going to be enlarged. And was my concern, because there's been work done there, and we're a two-story house, and my bedroom, I can't see out of it anymore because there's a two-story shed put in. So this is what my curiosity was, to come down and make sure that the blueprint wasn't going to be changed. This is extending out to the front of the house.
Yes.
That was my concern.
Okay. And thank you. You, sir, do you have any comments?
I'm just here and with her, and
Oh, okay. All right. Thank you very much for your comments.
we're next door neighbors.
Okay.
And
And your name, please?
Joseph Cody, C-O-T-E,
Thank you.
38 Waconquo Ave.
6.
And your comments were, you just wanted to,
Well, I mean, I've talked with the owner of the property regarding a deck. He was talking one time ago on the whole footprint of the front of the house. So I wasn't sure if this was gonna be the case this time. We wanna be able to open our door in our driveway if he did do that, so. Because we have a driveway to the right of his house, he's to the left. If you look at the,
yes. So this will just be extended from 8 to 15, so it's going toward Wankinko. It's not going to be any wider than it is right now.
yeah, that's fine.
Okay? Thank you very much for your comments. Is there anybody else?
That's it.
I'm seeing none. Chris?
Well, good luck.
All right.
A motion to close the hearing?
I have a motion to close the hearing.
Second.
I have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed, abstained, 400. Christine, your recommendation?
-2 and -6.
I motion to approve with a -2 and a -6 determination.
I have that motion. I have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It's nothing bad being negative. Okay, we're all set. Get your paperwork from Christine before you start anything, but you're good to go.
Okay,
Thank
thank you
you.
so much.
Next one, please.
On the request for determination of applicability for Stephen Ramsey, 120 Pinehurst Drive, Wareham, Massachusetts, 02571. To cover existing flagstone patio and concrete with brick and properly pitch away from house and water. Map 46A, 155, Lot 46A, 155, 120 Pinehurst Drive, Wareham, Massachusetts. I motion to open the hearing.
I need a second.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to open the hearing. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed, abstained. Who is here to represent this project? And you
Steve-
are?
Steve Ramsey,
Okay.
120 Pinehurst Drive.
Okay, Steve, I may ask you to stand and raise your right hand. I swear to tell the truth and nothing but the truth regarding this project at 120 Pinehurst Drive.
I do.
Thank you. All right, talk to us about what you want to do.
Pretty simple. It's just the front of the house, which is, I think, 95 feet from the water's edge, roughly, give or take an inch or a few, and put a few rows of cobblestone between the asphalt pavement and the street.
Oh, we're having the hearing for the patio.
Oh, I'm sorry, I thought they were both together.
Nope, they're two separate ones. It's
That's both
patio
separate.
first,
They're
please.
separate.
Okay.
Patio first.
We went back and forth, I apologize. This is my wife usually, I should have had her up here. But, okay, the patio is an existing flagstone patio set in concrete. It's been there probably 60 years, long before I knew anything about the place. And then there's existing concrete that is, if you have the plan there, that goes 15 feet from, excuse me, the back of the house towards the street And I'd like to cover all of that, because it's old, the pitches, worst part is it all pitches towards the house. So when rain's coming off the roof, the downspouts are even just pitches toward the house, and we have puddling there, and the dirt sits there. I'd like to dress it up. It's existing concrete. It does go right to the pretty much the seawall. And all I would like to do without any demolition is just to cover it, so I could pitch all the new bricks away from the house. And then whether you'd like me to put a drain on the edge of it, so instead of pitching towards the house, it would pitch the opposite way. And then when it got to the edge of the patio, whether I, water does seem, it's very sandy there, so I never have puddles on the grass when no matter how hard it rains, but, so basically that's it, just cover it, exact same size. I think I did want to add 1 3x6, just so I'd have a walkway through my gate to get it, from the existing patio to the existing concrete that's poured there.
All right, questions? Kwame?
This is a flood zone, right, Josh?
No, this would technically be in your 30-foot no activity zone to a coastal salt marsh. It is an existing patio, though.
Well, thank you for bringing this up before you did any work. That was very good, but no questions.
Autumn?
No questions, thank you.
Paula Jean?
Of course, I looked at the property, I was out there. I'm thinking the water, getting it diverted so it doesn't go toward your house makes sense, but it's going to go the other way, and there's going to be some velocity of water. You mentioned it's coming off the roof, pouring off the roof. So I think a drain, a French drain or something there is going to be a good idea, because isn't it just going to land on your lawn or the dirt area, and we can have erosion, and that's going to go down to the water. So the water has to have somewhere to go, so I think somewhere should be provided for the water.
Happy to do that, no problem whatsoever. The ground absorbs the water, I'm sure once I get it there, it will do that. It won't go towards the, I'm happy to get it away from my seawall, because all that does, to your point, erodes
Right,
behind that wall. Happy to do that.
okay, thank you.
Scott?
So the brick's going to be set in concrete or in sand or crushed rock or?
Sand or, there's a new product that they use, which is a real tiny stone, but it's permeable. So it'd either be the sand or that material. I forget the name of it, sorry about that. And the joints would be a polymeric sand,
Okay.
and basically that's it. No cement, no concrete used whatsoever.
But you're going to cover, anything else, Scott?
No, thank you.
But you're going to cover your existing flagstone, which is impermeable.
That's for sure.
So it's not going to, doing the sand isn't going to get us anything other than you're trying to control the runoff. And I like the idea of a French drain that goes along the edge of the patio on your lawn side to sort of take some of that water and direct it to a better filtering system than what it has now. Christine, any comments?
No, we were just wondering which way it was pitching, but if it's going towards the grass, that covers what I was thinking.
I mean, once I'm done, it'll do, sure.
Yeah.
Is there anybody online or in the audience who would like to talk to this particular project? Please come forward and identify yourself.
Hi, I'm Sheila Marinucci, Marinucci. I'm a neighbor at Pinehurst, and I completely support what Steve is proposing. I think that many of us in Pinehurst have existing structures that have been there for a while. I'm guessing many are unpermitted, unwarranted being there, but they are there, and a lot of us are going to need to address that over time. My my concern is not at all at what his project, what he wants to do. I think he's increasing the value of the property, tax revenue for the town, enjoying it for himself, and it's not going to hurt the abutters or the environment. I guess my question is because you all look at these instances case by case, how do you make sure that we're consistently applying the rules and the look back and the verification on these kinds of projects? Because it's sometimes watching all these and attending all these meetings, it's a question where some people have to do it a certain way, other people have to do it another way, when we're talking within the 30-foot and the 100-foot. So it's more of a question, not at all a worry about what Steve's trying to do.
Some of these structures were put in place before we had the 30-foot setback, 30-foot no-work zone. They exist, and we allow them to continue to assist. If there's been something recently done without permission within the 30-foot, we ask them to undo their project. Did I get that right, Josh?
Yeah, I would say that's accurate.
And I understand that too. And then what's the process to validate structures and how long they've been in place? And you know our neighborhood, aside from neighbors being nosy and taking pictures of people's property with drones, how does one know? How far
Christine,
back?
you're very good at looking at past history pictures.
Oh, so this one, we have aerials that date back to 2016, and that's...
I'm not actually asking about Steve's,
No, in general,
the town, because I know you guys have so much shoreline. such a
but Christine does a great job of looking at historic pictures on properties.
We do, and it's the aerials of the entire town. So I can see as far back as 2016. If there's anything, the bylaw, the 30-foot no activity zone was established in 2016. And so anything that's existed prior to that is already kind of
It's there.
existing. But anything that comes
thrilled
in.
that you're doing that, it sounds, because I know Josh has brought a lot of changes, and it sounds like you're doing, this is also very helpful. So I think it helps clarify for me and other neighbors and other people in the town that.
Thank you for your comments.
Consistency, thank you.
Is there anything else?
I will just say one comment to that this 2016 timeframe isn't, if it was built before then it's automatically okay. That's just kind of the stance the commission has taken at this point. If there is something egregious that happened prior to 2016, the commission still has the right to take enforcement on it. It's just,
The
it's
30-foot,
awfully convenient that the near map images go to 2016. Your bylaw was established for the no activity zone in 2016. It's kind of a standard that you guys have put in place, but.
okay, thank you. All right, I see no other comments. I'm going to ask a motion to close the hearing.
So moved?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, the hearing is closed. Christine, your recommendations.
-3, -6, with the installation of a French drain for the water runoff.
So moved?
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
400, that is it. So Steve says, stay there because you're up for another one. Don't do any work until you get the paperwork from Josh, okay?
Am I supposed to give this to somebody with all the mailings?
We'll take those when you get up.
I have a question about the stipulation for a French drain. So there's no plan, because this is a new thing, how will the installation of the French drain, the length of it, its final deposition, where the water's going to be, how will that be determined? We just leave that to the contractor or to the
We leave that to our conservation agent,
Okay.
because there is really no formal architectural blueprint for this. It's just hand sketch type thing. Is that right?
Yeah, I would say that suffices for what the commission needs to make a determination. You guys could condition where it goes, how big it is. Those are all conditions you could put on the project.
Even an RDA?
Or we could leave it to you.
Or you could leave it to us.
Yes, I think we'll leave it to,
So Steve, when you finish the project, why don't you give us a call and we'll verify that it was done in accordance with the approval.
okay. Next one, please. Kwame.
Autumn.
Autumn.
Oh,
That's okay.
that's what you get for sitting on my right side. Never mind. Autumn.
On the request for determination of applicability for Stephen Ramsey, 120 Pinehurst Drive, Wareham, Massachusetts, 02571. Install 4 rows of cobblestones at street, map 46A, 155, lot 46A, 155, 120 Pinehurst Drive, Wareham, Massachusetts. I motion to open the hearing.
I have a motion.
Second.
I have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed, abstained. The hearing is open. Steve, you've been sworn in for 120 Pinehurst Drive, and this is still 120 Pinehurst Drive, so you're good to go. Talk to us about this project.
Pretty simple. What's there is crushed stone from the pavement, from the street's pavement up to my front deck and garage. And all I'd like to do is put in a few rows of cobblestone between the existing street pavement and onto my property. It just would eliminate the, one, aesthetically, it would be nice. Two is it would stop all the stones from going in the street, come off of my street, whether it's whatever reason, cars, whatever.
Okay. Questions? Kwame?
Oh, thank you for not doing anything before you start the work.
Autumn?
No questions, thank you.
Paula Jean?
No questions, thank you.
Scott?
Of course. So are these stones going to be dry laid or laid into wet concrete, or how's that going to be done?
I would set them in wet concrete. They just last longer. They don't have growth. They don't have movement. It's
Right, but so you'll be going from a pervious
correct.
to an impervious
Correct.
situation, right? So in general, we like to see that close to wetlands. We like to see pervious.
I understand.
Is it possible for you to, I mean, the cobblestones are going to last forever.
Nothing wrong with the stones. They'll be there a long time. They've been here a long time.
Yeah, long past how you or I have to worry
Is
about
it possible for me to, if it was, I mean, this is 95 feet, if it was 50 feet or, you know, within a, if that water had any, maybe I'm not an engineer, but that water had any chance of getting to the ocean from there, I mean, I think that's why the jurisdiction is 100 feet, correct?
But you're in that jurisdiction.
I am, and whatever you people tell me to do, I'll do. I just would prefer not to, just for longevity of the existing. I'm a mason myself, so that it's just a stronger, I'm old and I don't want to be fixing things.
Well, my recommendation to the commission would be to dry lay the stone and use the elastomeric compound for the joints to hold them in place. That would give you a...
It's driven on by city trucks, it's driven on by every utility that ever drives down the street, so I'm not saying that, it's just a better job. That's all. I'd like, when I do things, I would prefer if you'd give me a little slack on that, I would just ask for that.
Okay. Anything else, Scott?
No, thank you.
Anybody in the audience or online that would like to comment on this project? Christine, any comments?
No.
I motion to close the hearing.
I have a motion to close the hearing.
Second.
I have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed, abstained. Christine, your recommendation?
-2, -6.
Any comment on the plans of cementing them? Are you good with that? Is Conservation good with that? Cementing the 3 rows of cobblestones?
I would say so, and I think at that point, is it still within jurisdiction, or is it just flood zone?
It's just outside of that, well, it's in a flood zone, but it's within that 100-foot, but towards the far end of the 100-foot.
So it's on the 95-footer?
Yeah, pretty much.
It's on the cusp.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
I think with the crushed stone or seashell driveway, you're not gonna see any erosion from those four rows of stone to the resource area. I think that would be appropriate.
all right. So we have a motion.
I
We
motion
close
to-
the hearing, so please.
Approve with the -2 and a -6 determination.
I need a second.
I'll Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed, abstained, 400. Again, don't do any work until you get your paperwork from Josh and Christine. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Next one, please.
On the request for notice of intent for Brandon Fernald, 48 Park Street, Danvers, Mass. 01923. Applicants are proposing to reconstruct approximately 40 feet of existing revetment with a sloped boulder revetment. Map 51, Lot 208, 13 Nobsco Way, Wareham, Mass. I motion to open the hearing.
I need a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained. I understand they want a continuation
Yes.
until, was 2/5 good for them?
Yes.
I motion to continue until 2/5.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, abstained. Let's continue with the next one, please.
On the request for notice of intent for Stuart Novick, 12 Nobsco Way, Wareham, Massachusetts. Applicant is proposing to construct approximately 45 linear feet of sloped boulder revetment. Map 51, Lot 1007A1, 15 Nobsco Way, Wareham, Massachusetts. I motion to open the hearing.
Make a
Second.
motion. Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained. I believe this is another one, continuation until 2/5?
Yes.
Excuse me, is that 15 or 12?
15.
Okay, I heard 12, sorry.
Sorry, the ad said.
No, that's all good, I just wanted to make sure.
So the motion was to continue until 2/5?
I motion to continue until 2/5.
Second.
I have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, abstained, continued, please. Next one.
On the request for notice of intent for Robert Schlock, 134 Edgewater Drive, Needham, Massachusetts. Applicant is proposing to construct approximately 100 linear square feet of sloped boulder revetment, map 51, lot 212, 17 Nobsco Way, Wareham, Massachusetts. I motion to open the hearing.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, abstained. They also want to continue until 2/5?
Yes.
So moved.
I need a second.
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 All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, abstained, 400. We'll continue. Next one, please.
On the request for notice of intent for John and Teresa Dalbus, trustees, 19 Nobsco Way, Wareham, Massachusetts. Applicant is proposing to construct approximately 100 linear feet of sloped boulder revetment, map 51, lot 269, 270, 19 Nobsco Way, Wareham, Massachusetts. I motion to open the hearing.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, abstained. The hearing is open, and they would wish a continuation until 2/5.
I motion to continue until 2/5.
Second.
I have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained. We are continued into 2/5. Next one, please.
On the request for notice of intent for Melissa Rogerson, 2 Snow Circle, Buzzards Bay, Massachusetts. The applicant is proposing to construct a single-family home with amenities that include a garage, paved driveway, and subsurface sewage disposal system at 334 County Road in Wareham. The house and a portion of the garage are located within the 100-foot buffer of a wetland on site. Map 65, Lot 1003, 334 County Road, Wareham, Massachusetts. I motion to open the hearing.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Abstain. Opposed. Abstained. 400. We open the hearing. Is there anybody here representing this project? Please come forward. You can stand for a minute for me. Right hand up, please. I promise to tell the truth and nothing but the truth on the project of 334 County Road. Please have a seat and identify who you are.
I'm Jeff Youngquist, Outback Engineering.
Melissa Rogerson.
Okay, Jeff, I gather you're going to take the ball in describing the project.
I will do that. We're basically putting a single-family home with a septic system, paved driveway. It's out of the 30-foot buffer. It's roughly 64 feet from the wetlands. I believe there's an old foundation on the piece of property, but we have silt fence. We have basically everything on the plan. Is there any questions?
I will ask. Melissa, anything to add? No. Okay, I will go around. Kwame?
Cranberry bogs, everything else is good. No questions.
Okay. Autumn?
No questions, thank you.
Paula Jean?
Hi.
Aye.
I would really like to see the driveway, the paved driveway, be a pervious surface. Is there a chance that we could get that?
It's up to you. But what do you mean by pervious? I mean, do you want gravel?
I mean, I want it to be, water to be able to drain through that. You're 65 feet from the resource area.
Stone driveway.
We could do a stone driveway.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
Okay.
Crushed stone.
Crushed stone driveway.
Stone, thank you.
Scott?
No questions, thank you.
Now, this is it, right? I have a little one.
You got it, I got a big one if you want to look at it.
Now, my question is, I would like to have some type of dry well for the runoff off the roof. Or do you have stone around the house to take that runoff?
I don't see any stone.
For the drip area. I mean, I would like to have that water off the roof in the garage captured in such a way that it goes back into the soil with the dry well.
We can put some leaching pit type plastic chambers to collect it. It's no problem.
Okay. Josh, or Christine, do you want it updated? Do we continue the hearing for an updated map with that? Or if we give you the permission to accept a modified plan with a dry well on it, and we approve it with that stipulation that the dry well or the capture points will be on the next plan submitted to the...
Absolutely.
Okay,
You can approve it with a revised plan submitted to the Conservation Department.
okay. Is there anybody online that wants to speak, or anybody in the audience that wants to speak to this particular project? Christine, any comments on this?
When we went out there, there was some brush that had been dumped in the wetland. We'd noticed that. Do you guys know anything about that?
I just bought the property, so that was there before I bought that.
All right. We kinda-
How much brush is out there?
It was quite a large mound.
I'd say it was 3 6 by 8 foot piles, right in between your, I'd say wetland flags 6 and 8.
Between 6 and 8?
Yeah.
I think we could remove those.
Yeah.
If they're, could we get a small excavator down there with
I
that?
know, I think you could do it by hand pretty easily.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right, thank you. We'll do
Um,
that.
And then the other comment I would make is the commission, you guys have kind of been delineating your 30-foot no activity zone with signage, maybe a couple 4x4 posts with the signs located along the 30-foot no activity zone.
No problem.
So what we're looking for is some type of way of letting everybody knows that this is a 30-foot no-touch zoning, don't disturb beyond this point.
We, in various other towns, numerous other towns, we put a 4x4 pressure-treated post, and on the top, we'll show the post detail, and then there's a little plaque.
And we have those little plaques also that says, you know,
Okay, we're all the same then. I'll put, how many would you like? Just in the area where we're gonna be activity along the 30 there?
Yeah, I would say maybe 3
Three.
spaced out between where you're clearing for the house envelope. You
You're-
kind of got the one
You're
off of
talking about
8A.
right through here?
Yeah, exactly.
3 of them?
Yeah, one off of 8A, one off of 6A. Yeah.
One off of 7A.
Yeah,
Okay,
something like that.
all right, will do. At the 30-foot buffer?
Yeah,
Okay.
all
Put that
right,
on the plan too?
please.
on the
will do.
revised plan.
Right.
So, nothing else?
I motion to close the hearing.
Second.
I have a motion to close the hearing and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed, abstained, 400. The hearing is closed. Christine, your recommendation.
A standard order of conditions with the crushed stone driveway, the revised plan with the dry well that's being added for the roof runoff, clearing of the brush in the wetland, and then the signs to identify that 30-foot no activity zone.
So moved.
I
Second.
have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Abstain, 400. It's done. Josh will be waiting for your revised plan to show these 4 items that we've talked about, and that will do it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, next, please.
On the request for notice of intent for Erica Larner, 10 Park Plaza, room 7360, Boston, Massachusetts. Corridor improvements, Route 6 and Swifts Beach Road, map 48, lot 1001, 54 Marion Road, Wareham, Massachusetts. I motion to open the hearing.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
I abstain. Approve, abstained, never mind, 400. The hearing is opening, and please raise your hand. I swear to tell the truth and nothing but the truth on the project at 54 Marion Road.
I do, but it's actually not 54 Merritt, that's the city town hall's
Okay,
address.
Route 6 from Route 6 from Cremisa to Viking Drive.
Right.
Please have a seat and identify yourself, please.
I'm Ed Hutchinson with Tetra Tech, on behalf of Mass DOT Highway Division.
All right. Talk to us, please.
Basically, this project, as you just said, is from about 100 feet east of Cremisa to Viking Drive along Route 6 or Marion Road. MassDOT is intending to remove 1 lane in each direction from the roadway and replace that with a shared use path on the south side of the roadway and single lanes in each direction. So the area within jurisdiction is right around Stony Run, on both sides of Stony Run. Resource areas in that vicinity of Stony Run, we have riverfront area, land subject to coastal storm flowage, the bank of Stony Run, and off-site to the north is an area of BVW, so there's a little bit of buffer zone from that BVW that we'll be working in. The majority of the project within riverfront area is exempt because it's considered a minor activity in the buffer zone or the riverfront area because it's roadway improvements. The area that's in land subject to coastal storm flowage is also in riverfront area, so that portion of the riverfront area is not exempt, not considered a minor activity in the buffer zone. But it is also considered a limited project because it's roadway improvements. So there's exemptions, for the riverfront area and coastal storm flowage. So it's pretty minimal impact that is in jurisdiction. It's land subject to coastal storm flowage, and it's, like I said, a limited project, but there's about 9,000 square feet, say 4,500 on either side of Stony Run that will be worked in land subject to coastal storm flowage. And that will raise the roadway about 4 inches in order to work on some the drainage system there. I don't know if you have any other questions on that, but it's...
Ed, is the road going to be any wider than it is now?
No, not at all. I'll be with an existing right-of-way, and actually we'll be reducing impervious area in the riverfront area by about 1,300 square feet.
Okay. Questions? Kwame?
Yeah, you mentioned trees. There's a lot of trees that are going to be trimmed and...
Right, and again, those will be subject to the minor activity in the buffer zone, so that it's exempt, but just so they could, for site view and safety precautions, that kind of thing. I don't think they would take more than they believe they have to, what the engineers will be looking for, safety and site view.
That's the only question I had, thank you.
Autumn.
No questions, thank you.
Madam Chair, I do have an Erica Lerner, which I assume is here for the project as well.
Erica's with MassDOT, she's online.
Yes, hi folks. I wanted to introduce myself, Erica Larner, Wetlands and Water Resources Coordinator with Mass DOT. And I wanted to offer an explicit answer to the question about the tree limbing and trimming, that due to the minor activity definitions, this contract is being limited to only within 6 feet of any guardrail or the edge of the roadway, and not for actual any clearing or grubbing, only actual limbing and not taking down an entire tree. That's what I'm trying to say.
I have a procedural question. Does she need to be sworn in for this?
I can do that.
Yes. Erica, please, raise your right hand. I swear to tell the truth and nothing but the truth regarding the DOP project on Route 6 between Cremisa and Viking Drive. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Scott.
You're welcome.
All right, anything else, Kwame?
No, thank you.
Autumn.
No questions, thank you.
Paula Jean.
No, thank you. None.
Scott.
Does this require a review by any state agencies, DEP, or anybody, an assessment of its impact on the brook?
I don't know. Erica?
Yes, so I can say that beyond this portion, the Conservation Commission and any technical comments that DEP may have chosen to issue, and I just looked it up prior to this hearing, that they didn't issue any technical comments. This would be the DEP portion of the review. They have passed their authority to you folks. And so it doesn't have any other additional permits. There will be no direct wetland impacts or land underwater impacts. So the need for a 401 or a 404 permitting is not there. So this would be the process. And you folks would be the arm of the State Wetlands Protection Act in this case.
Okay. Now, if I'm out of line asking these questions, please stop me. Does this project include a set of lights at Swiss Beach Road and Route 6?
Yes.
Yes. Because I was on a JTPG meeting with MassDOT and Serped, and I did see a light indicated, but I didn't see it on the plans that we had, and I just wanted a confirmation that this is the long-awaited light at Swiss Beach intersection.
It's in the product description, as far as I know,
And,
yes.
okay, do we have a start date of this project? Erica.
All right, so the ad date, which is when we would put it out to bid, is not for a few more months. It is within this federal fiscal year. And then generally the contracts can take a few months to sign, and it can take up to a year for the contractors to mobilize. So I can't guarantee the exact start date, but I can say that this is on the list to go out to bid and to be constructed, and timeline would be within the next 2 years.
Oh.
But
thank you.
that's
since we
not
have a-
part of what I do, so
I know,
I'm
but
giving estimates.
I had to ask the question because that is a lot minds as to what's going to happen Swiss Beach when we open Littleton Drive, when we open the issue with Damien's Pantry and all the extra traffic that will be at that intersection with those two projects. It was just a lot of concern. Okay. Now, anybody online or in the audience would like to comment on this project will only take comments that impact conservation, and only that. Christine, anything?
I have
Christine?
a question.
Yes, Josh.
I think your notice of intent says there's a reduction in impervious. Can you just explain where that is? It's a little hard to tell in detail. I looked at the plan quite extensively, and I couldn't really...
It is hard to tell, and I can't tell you exactly where it is. The engineers who drafted it probably can give you a better idea, and I can give you another figure tomorrow, or if they can draw it out and just show you where they're.
Yeah, because I think the assumption is when you hear that it's going from 2 lanes in each direction to 1 lane, you assume the reduction in impervious is there, but it's not really a reduction there because you're adding the multi-use path. So, yeah, I would love a little more description on where that is actually located.
I thought I read somewhere that there will be a hard sidewalk on one side and a dirt one on the other.
No, that is not correct.
Okay, then I misread it.
Well, there is a sidewalk on the north side.
Yep, where it is now.
Right. And then a buffer, the grass buffer, planted buffer, like, it's 5 feet wide, and then the shared use path will be.
So if some of that buffer is hard, it will be removed? I mean, isn't there any concrete or a walkway on that
There's a
south
sidewalk
side?
there now, yes.
Will that sidewalk be removed?
Replaced with the shared use path.
So
Correct.
that doesn't-
Maybe your
I
reduction
think I
in
can ask,
impervious is that
answer
buffer?
that
Wait,
generally.
wait a minute, Eric, wait a second.
Sorry.
No, yeah,
Okay,
she can go.
okay, you're up now.
It's hard virtually, so I apologize for speaking over anyone. So generally, when we're looking at there being intersection realignments, and we can take what is currently impervious, and we are reusing those spaces, restriping, and any places that we are restoring that might already be like asphalt tailings. We would basically reuse those areas, tighten up different intersection turning radiuses, and through incremental changes throughout that corridor, we can end up reducing the impervious. And it tends to be a long-standing goal. So you won't really see a particular highlighted area of here's our reduction of impervious, because by changing the alignment of the roadway within it, the right-of-way, we can be more efficient with the use of that asphalt, and then restore the other areas to loam and seed grass so that it's no longer impervious. And I don't have the plans open right in front of me, but if it's something that's a larger question, I'm happy to pull them up and get more into the details.
No, that was adequate enough, thank you.
Okay. Christine, comments?
No, everything Josh just asked was.
You want something?
Yeah, I had another question. So in the past, when we've had roadway projects come before us, we've been able to walk the project with an engineer or multiple engineers. Is it, I mean, if we're 2 years out, is it possible that we could set up a time to walk the project with an engineer?
Well, we would only be walking the project when it affects us conservation,
That's right.
which is.
I think that, yeah, we've seen pre-construction meetings before regularly, and having an on-site is not an inappropriate request. I think that that's an appropriate thing and could be scheduled pre-construction. Or if it's something that the commission feels they don't have enough information at this moment, then we could schedule now. It's just cold, very cold.
It's really hard to visualize just with the plans, what's going to happen out there and where and so on. So I'd be happy to walk out in the cold. One of you would like to do that, too.
Sure. Now, Josh, if I read this correctly, we have no approval or denial of this project, correct? We're here only as a courtesy of DOT telling us on conservation what they're about to do within our preview.
You will be issuing an approval for an order of conditions. If there was something so out of line, you could probably put up an argument for it, but I would say the project that they presented in front of you is pretty standard in terms of meeting the requirement of the exemptions they've asked for.
Okay.
I still would like to see it.
And that's a totally fine request.
I'd be more than happy to help coordinate that. I'm sure that we can absolutely have DOT folks out there
reach out to Christine to get a hold of Scott for a walk, or Paula Jean for a walk. I have no desire to walk by Stony Path, what is it? Sorry?
Stony Run.
Stony Run.
And this would only be the areas that would be under our purview anyway, so it's not the whole project.
No. So you'll just be outside of Shaw's, opposite where Brown's used to be. Okay. Nobody else? You're not?
Make a
If
motion
there's
to
going
close
to
the
be a
hearing.
site visit, would that warrant a continuance of this hearing?
Yeah.
If we can do a site visit within the next 2 weeks?
I think that's doable.
That may be a bit more difficult if we're looking to make sure that we actually have engineers from the designing team. I can do my very best for it. Excuse me. Inconvenient moment. The other thing is that we'd be happy to say that have the site, have the issuance of the order be contingent upon that, or as a pre-construction requirement that it has to be done within a certain time period of the issuance, like say within 60 days of issuing the order, or we'd be in violation. I think that that would be equally acceptable, and we're happy to work with you.
Scott, how quickly do you want to get out there?
Well, it's supposed to be cold next week, so that sounds good. No, anytime that's convenient for you, as long as the personnel that you need to represent you are available, I'm okay with that.
Or is there any way to mark the area on Route 6 between the areas that are subject to our consideration, as opposed to have an engineer walk through it if we just wanted to look at the land?
It's hard to ask a question of a flag.
I know, but do we ask questions when we go out to visit all our other sites?
The road projects, we certainly do.
Do you
All
think
right.
30 days is enough time to get your team together?
I think that that would be something that we could do, is that if it was within 30 days, I think we can handle that.
So why don't you guys issue the order of conditions and require a site visit within the next 30 days?
And should the commission find anything through that site visit that contradicts the evidence, it may be something to, require a reopening. There are, I can't remember the actual general condition number off the top of my head, but there is a mechanism that if there's new evidence, that it has to be addressed. So it could be a way to continue to protect the commission. I can't remember the exact wording.
If there is something, it's much better to find it now than after the project starts or is completed or so on, right? I mean, that's what we're trying to do here.
And I think from, say, a functional operational standpoint, and of course this is from DOT's perspective, is that being able to get some of this paperwork in order, have it issued, it allows us to start the process of creating our bid packages and making our ad date, and then from there, the several-month process of actually selecting a contractor begins. So from the operational standpoint, there are pressures for us to get the paperwork as soon as that we feasibly can to our contracts departments. So I think that's why I was hoping and suggesting we could work it through with the order, but this is all within the commission's purview to decide what they'd like to do.
Okay, so we would be continuing until 2/19. That will give us a 30-day window to do a site visit.
I think what you could do is approve it under the condition that you obtain a site visit within the next 30 days, being February 14th.
Any other comments?
A site visit without objection, something like that. Because if we find something that we really don't like, if you don't include language like that, then there's nothing we can do about it.
Yeah, that seems fine. I
So-
mean, if you do find something you don't like, we could always move an enforcement on an open order of conditions.
Okay.
There are mechanisms to do it without explicitly saying it, but
Okay.
never hurts.
All right. We're done. I guess we close the hearing.
Motion to close the hearing.
Second?
A motion, and I have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed, abstained, 400. The hearing is closed. Christine, your recommendation, please.
You can issue the standard order of conditions contingent upon a site visit within 30 days.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, 400. We have closed the hearing with a site review within 30 days. Anything else?
Thank you very much. And,
Thank you, Erica. Thank you, Ed.
And I'm not sure that I have your agent's direct email in my record. If they would be so kind as to email me on the application email, I will get started on setting up that site visit immediately.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next one, please. Is this the one that's going to be continued?
No.
No, okay, sorry. Next one, please.
On the request for notice of intent for Thomas Collinaire, 63 Onset Ave, Wareham, Massachusetts, 02532, to build a two-car garage, map 9, lot 82, 63 Onset Ave, Wareham, Massachusetts. I motion to open the hearing.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to open the hearing. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, the hearing is open. Anybody here representing this project, please come.
Fine, I'm letting them in now.
Okay.
Can I ask a question? Do you have a vote? Is it 400 or 500? I was just curious.
Only 4 of us are voting members.
Just curious. Yeah, I didn't-
Scott is an associate.
Got it.
Okay,
Thank you.
yeah.
Hello,
Hi, please identify yourself.
Thomas Collinaire.
Okay, Thomas, I'm going to ask you to raise your right hand. I have to swear you in. I
Okay,
swear to tell the truth and nothing but the truth on this project at 63 Onset Ave.
I do.
Thank you. Now talk to us about your project.
I'm proposing to build a 24 by 24 two-car garage in the back side of my property off Carroll Road.
All right. Any questions? Kwame?
No questions, thank you.
Autumn?
No questions, thank you.
Paula Jean?
No questions.
Scott?
The plans show an existing driveway, but they don't show a planned driveway. I assume with a two-car garage, you plan on driving to the garage, is that right?
Yes.
So can you describe where that driveway would go, the new driveway?
Well, it's basically where it is right now, and it would just be a short drive into the garage.
Around the back of the house?
Off of Carroll Road.
So you would be extending the existing driveway around the back of the house, past the deck?
No. You're gonna go down Carroll Road and you turn left into the driveway.
Oh, I see.
So there's a stoned area now that must be your driveway.
Yeah, it's like a dirt driveway back there.
Yeah, I see a lot of small stones. Yeah.
Yeah, small stone, yep.
Anything
a
else,
gravel.
Scott?
Well, so the plans then include a driveway as well as a garage?
I
is that
don't think
right?
he's adding anything to the driveway. I think he's using
No.
the existing road. He's probably been parking his cars on that area for a while, right? Did we lose
Yes,
him?
I have.
No, I'm sharing my screen
Oh.
just so I can show Scott, sorry.
So he's not building a new driveway, he's using the existing parking area to get to the garage.
Yeah, that's not marked in the plans.
Well, no, it wouldn't be, it's nothing being built.
So Scott, just so you see, here is where he's putting the driveway, And then the construction of the garage, I think, starts within the fence line. But it looks existing, it looks like previously it's been used as a driveway.
Okay, no further questions then.
Okay. Anybody online or in the audience to speak to this project? Christine, any comments?
No.
Seeing nobody else,
I motion to close the hearing.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to close the hearing. All in favor? Aye, opposed, abstained, 400. The hearing is closed. Christine, your recommendations.
Standard order conditions with some erosion controls.
So move.
I have that motion.
Second?
I have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed, abstained. Thomas, you have our approval. Do not start anything until you get the paperwork from Conservation, okay?
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. Next one, please.
So I don't have the ads for this one. I'm seeing that in our records where we get the NOI details, that there's information was uploaded after the amended agenda was posted to the website.
Should we read the ad that was done on October 2nd?
That would be appropriate.
Okay, thank you. On the request for notice of intent for David Regan, 34 Briarwood Drive, Wareham, Massachusetts. Proposed 92-foot-long elevated wooden walkway, map 53, lot 211, 34 Briarwood Drive, Wareham, Massachusetts. I motion to open the hearing.
Second.
I have a motion and I have a second. All in favor? Aye, opposed, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstain? 400. This is a request by David Regan to reopen the hearing, which we had denied previously because there was a new updated letter from the Division of Marine Fisheries. Christine, you want to talk to us about what changed in the new letter?
In the original letter, the Division of Marine Fisheries had said that it was found in mapped shellfish habitat. In the revised letter, it's in close proximity to mapped shellfish habitat.
So that's the only difference. So their recommendations for the project hold the same.
Yes.
Is there anybody here representing this project?
Yes, Paul Seaberg from Grady Consulting.
Sorry, one more, slower.
Paul Seaberg from Grady Consulting, the engineer on the project.
Okay, Paul.
Hi, everyone.
Okay, Paul, were you on the original hearing?
Yes, I was.
I swore you in at that time?
Correct. Yep.
You're still sworn. Okay, talk to
Perfect.
us about the changes.
All right, is it okay if I share my screen?
Yes, please.
Perfect. So can you see the map here, the shellfish map?
John's getting in the light.
Oh, perfect.
All right.
So as you stated, I'm here for the proposed elevated walkway located at 34 Briarwood Drive. This project was before the commission on October 16th. The Division of Marine Fisheries had issued a review letter that stated the project was mapped within the shellfish habitat. The commission voted to deny the project since the town's bylaw prohibits proposed pier projects within a mapped shellfish habitat. After further review with the DMF, it was determined that the project site is not mapped within the shellfish habitat. It lies approximately 190 feet north of that mapped area. And based on this new information, we'd like to request the commission review the project once again, since it was primarily denied on the fact that it was within this mapped shellfish habitat area. The applicant is proposing to construct a 92-foot long, 3-foot wide elevated walkway shown here with a 6-by-8 foot platform at the end. This dock will be supported by a 16 wooden posts elevated 5 feet above the salt marsh. The recommended 1.5 to 1 height to width ratio. In addition, the project consists of an existing salt marsh area that's 99 feet wide. The project proposes to span approximately 39.9 feet with the structure shown here. as part of the pier and walkway, which is less than the 75-foot maximum requirement. An access path is proposed that is 3 feet wide and 59 feet in length across the remainder of the salt marsh to the proposed structure. There's a post and rope fence that will be located on each side of this pathway, shown here, to limit access to just the pathway and prevent any foot traffic over other portions of the marsh area. The existing vegetation within this pathway is proposed to remain. Given the private seasonal use of the walkway, we anticipate the impacts on the salt marsh area would be minimal. We have also prepared a alternative design that we feel is fully compliant with the regulations. If there are any additional concerns regarding shellfish or the span of the structure, which we'd also like to present. Basically, this alternative design would be the same walkway, but starting at the lawn area and extending the 75-foot maximum length out into the salt marsh area. With that said, I'd be happy to turn it over to questions from the commission.
Kwame?
So my first question is, the fence. Explain to me why you putting the fence again? Is the limit,
Right,
traffic?
so we want to limit any disturbances to the salt marsh area. So by defining a small direct pathway to where the stairs lead to the proposed pier structure, we're keeping people off any other portions of the salt marsh area.
And how tall is the proposed area of the fence and going in, and also what is I don't have my glasses and I'm sorry, I must have missed your comment, and how tall the deck, I mean, not the deck, the proposed area that you're trying to build.
So the fence along the access pathway, that's only about, there's only 2 foot tall posts. I think there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of them. And there'll just be a small rope that will connect each post just to kind of just define the pathway.
Oh, I'm thinking of fence as like some kind of like
No.
metal fencing area, but it's just gonna be this a roped.
Yeah, just a
type of
small
inward
little
post.
post and rope fence, yep.
Understood, okay. I think that's the only question I had.
Autumn?
No questions, thank you.
Madam Chair, may I? I think looking at it from the Conservation Department standpoint, the alternative walkway that you see in the smaller scale there would be less of an impact to the resource area. So if there was going to be, our recommendation would be the alternative walkway versus the one they have proposed larger. Just our opinion.
Which one has the post and rope on it,
That would be the larger scale application that you see above.
which would put more holes in the ground?
It would put more, it would just be a bigger impact to the resource area. Looking at the alternative walkway design, you can see it just below Paul there. It shows the outline in blue, and it shows the pier starting at the end of the, I'll call it the upland property, and going out 75 feet, which is allowable under your bylaw. We see that there would be less impact to the resource area versus the proposed project.
Okay, Autumn?
Is this the revised DMF letter from October 29th, 2024, or has there been one since then?
I think we've only received the 2.
Yeah, the October 29th is the revised.
Okay.
And
So,
the
yeah.
only, the only revision is the location of the shellfish. Okay, thank you, sorry.
No, that's okay. So the plans that we have currently differ from the original ones that were reviewed.
Correct.
Correct.
Original
The
plan.
only change in the plans was the addition of the post and rope walkway, as well as the alternative design.
Okay. Yeah, if we're basing this off of the DMF letter from October, I am seeing that there is a strong statement that a new pier has the potential to negatively impact nearby shellfish resources, and that there's unavoidable permanent impacts to the shellfish habitat if a pier is placed in this area based on this project.
Yeah, and you'll see that in every one of their letters that they issue.
Okay, thank you.
So that's standard wording, even if it's not in the shellfish habitat?
I would say it's standard wording because of the resource areas that it's located in. I would not say that it's standard in the sense of, hey, it's there. Like, I think they do put some emphasis behind the statement. The project, both the projects you have are permittable. But like, from the staff point of view, the alternative walkway design poses less impact on the resource area.
Thank you.
Paula Jean.
I can see the difference in this plan, that it lessens the impact somewhat, but I'm still, in light of the DMF letter, and there were more than one precautions listed. There were many, many things describing how this would impact the resource area, shellfish, increased activity, and so on and so on. And I'm just really not very comfortable with it happening. If I were the homeowner, I would understand why you would want to do that. It's a beautiful setting and boating, but I feel like it's a problem. Also, has there been any official word with the project about what boats would be allowed on the pier out there on the end?
I can answer that question if you wouldn't mind.
Yeah, thank you.
So there's a lot of issues with the actual letter that DMF had issued because they reference barges being used to construct the pier, which is not the case. They reference a boat and a float that's going to be out there, and we're not going to have a ramp or a float or any motorized vessel out there. This walkway is strictly used to access the water or get closer to the water for fishing and just enjoy the wildlife, essentially. So there's not going to be any ramp or float or boat with this proposal.
So would this be written with restrictions about boats being on the dock out there?
We can.
You could condition it that
I
in
know,
that manner.
I mean, I know the large boat, the nice boat that was in the driveway and a trailer has been living at a slip before now, and I just think that it would be very tempting to have boats out there, especially if you had a boat already, and that would increase the impact to the area considerably.
I would say, given where this is located, it would be impossible to have that boat moored to this dock. And a few other conditions that we've seen in the past and in other communities, you could always have a shellfish survey done to see if there would be any impact to shellfish in the construction, or you could, at the time of construction, have someone relocating any shellfish found at the time. So there are some conditions that you can put on it to limit the destruction of.
Good, thank you.
Scott.
So that was the essence of the question I wanted to ask, is whether this change is based on correction of a map or whether it was based on actual survey data. So it was just a map correction, is that the way it played out?
From what I understand, the Office of the Division of Marine Fisheries bases a lot of their letters off of just solely the mapping of the shellfish layer.
And do you know, so first of all, I wasn't here for October meeting, so I'm still catching up with this. And I'm also relatively new on the commission, so I want to ask a question as to how that shellfish map was made in the first place. Was it based on someone's best guess, or were they actually surveyed, or how was that map? And it's germane to the question here, I think.
So DMF actually brings that up in the letter. They were created in the early 2000s using the NOAA nautical charts and a coastline of Massachusetts from 1992. So they said the polygons don't always perfectly align with current shorelines or recent satellite photography.
Yeah, we have, in where I live, we have shellfish area that goes up across one of the roads. So I do have reason to doubt the accuracy of some of their mapping. But in a case like this, I think it's really important to know how the mapping was made.
Yeah, and if that is such a concern of the commission, a shellfish survey is totally adequate. You know, that could answer, I think, a big question that you're stuck on.
I would also agree with Josh that the alternate plan with the longer walkway would be preferable. Is there any way to orient this so that's more north-south rather than east-west? The question may shock you, but one of the mitigation measures for shading under a dock is to orient it more north-south rather than east-west. Is that possible here?
No, that's not possible here because of the location of the river. We're providing a direct route straight to the river from the lawn area. So I don't know how we could, change the orientation of
I
it.
just thought I'd ask the question. And this is all going to be some kind of treated lumber, is that right? PT or something?
So the town doesn't allow for any sort of treated lumber. It would have to be a different type of either naturally resistant to corrosion or other type of a treatment acceptable from the commission.
Could we require green heart?
Right.
I recommend that if we are going to approve that, we indicate that it is a green heart wood for the pier.
Yeah, your bylaw already states that it
I
can only
just
be of
wanna-
a certain material.
Listening to what Paul had, I wanted to make sure it's known as we will use that type of wood for the poles going into the ground.
Gotcha.
And we actually noted that on the plan as well, that right here, that any sort
Okay,
of pressure
thank you.
treated lumber could not be used.
That's awful tiny for me to read.
Yeah.
All right.
And just to clarify, as far as the alternative, right now we're presenting the version with the walkway, the path walkway, and then the structure shown here. The alternative design shows the structure the full length, but we'd like to extend that. Basically, we would end up doing the structure the full length here and going greater than the 75-foot allowed length if we were going to go with the alternative design.
How long is the alternative?
So this alternative is a fully compliant version, so it extends 75 feet from the edge of the lawn area here into the salt marsh. So that would end approximately right here on this plan.
Paul, I think ideally we would have a revised set of plans from you when we go to issue the order of conditions.
Okay.
Paul, I have a question for you.
Yes.
Looking at the assessor's database, map 53, lot 1019, it belongs to the town of Wareham. Your plan crosses that land. Do we have permission from the town of Wareham to build that structure on town-owned property?
I'm not quite sure where you're referring to this area here.
Yes.
Our survey proved that that was actually incorrect. The assessor's maps are incorrect based on our survey that we performed.
And that's actually what I found when talking to the assessor's department. We couldn't find anything that accurately depicted town of Wareham land running.
But that, okay,
Their deed states that they own out to the river.
out to the river?
Yes.
All right, someone asked me the question, I looked into it, I looked at the assessor's database, and that was my conclusion, is that we're
Yep.
going across town land, and the assessor's database is
Inaccurate.
incorrect.
Yeah.
Yeah, that issue came up as part of the, when they constructed their garage project.
Oh, yes, because the house where their gazebo on is also identified as the town of Wareham with the little
Yeah, that
little
property.
dash marks
Yeah,
indicating that something
property had
happened.
some weird lines associated with it.
Are there shellfish in your garage? I'm just, sorry, I couldn't help it.
Only after a clam bake, probably.
Yeah, all right. So we've talked about a lot.
Do we need a revised plan?
I would like to have a revised plan that only shows the alternative walkway and no longer shows the post and rope walkway. Is that possible? Is there anything else you wanted to show on that revised plan, Josh?
No, I think if you give us a full-size plan of the alternative layout, as if that was what you originally presented, that would be appropriate.
So just to clarify, the alternative layout will actually span the full length of the salt marsh area?
Yeah, 75 feet, correct?
No, it would be 99 feet in that case.
I thought you said the alternative design that you're showing us there is 75 feet.
By 2 feet.
Yes, the alternative design is 75 feet,
Yeah.
but we would be requesting that we keep our full length of the pier. This is a fully compliant version that goes to the 75-foot maximum. But that doesn't give us access close enough to the water for what the use of the dock is proposed for, which is fishing.
So the alternative design that you've shown there isn't actually what you would be proposing as an alternative?
Right, that's what I was stating, that the alternative design would end here, but we would still like to continue it out further as proposed up in our original design.
Would like to see an updated plan.
Is it within the purview of the Conservation Commission to look beyond the bylaws and grant an extension beyond 75 feet to 92 feet? Is that something that we can do?
You're not going to like my answer. It
Well, you
is
don't know
something
about
you can do, but it would be out of line with the bylaw. The mechanism for doing that would be having some type of variance written into your bylaw that would allow you to deviate from your bylaw.
Could they have two walkways? One that's 75 feet and the other one that bridges the rest of the way to the, or are we dancing here too much?
I think Paul coming back with a revised plan for exactly what they're looking for is a good place to start.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Anybody else online to comment? In the audience to comment? If not, I'd take a motion to continue. Paul, can you get us a plan by February 5th?
Yes, absolutely.
Take a motion to continue until 2/5.
So moved.
Second?
Motion to continue and seconded, all in favor? Aye. Opposed, abstained, we are continued until 2/5. We now go on to continued hearings, which I'm sure everybody is in the audience wants that, says that's very happy to happen. Okay. We have a Robert Cormier for 915th Street. Didn't we continue that for quite a while?
Till May.
May, okay. So that's already continued.
Can we add that into just the agenda, just say when we've continued it to, so.
Wait a second.
About it.
We continued it, oh, that says 12/18, that's the wrong note. Wait a minute, wrong note. Here we go. We said May 7th.
We'll add that to the agenda so we don't have to keep discussing that.
Okay. The next one is Paul Summers, 25 Oak Street. Anybody here for that project?
They had requested a continuance to February 5th.
All right. I take a motion to continue until 2/5.
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
I opposed, abstained, it's continued. Okay, so let me get, wait a minute. The next one we have is Golston, 38 Wonkinko. We continued, why is that here? Nope, wrong page. God, I can't even keep my pages right. The next one is Jacob Lowell, 61 Oak Street. That's the next hearing. Anybody here for that one? Okay.
You haven't realized you're going to have a busy night on February 5th.
A lot of continuances, I'm guessing.
Yes. Plus all the new ones that haven't come in yet.
They're in, they just have to unmute.
Okay, and who's joined us?
Am I on?
Yes, you are.
All right, I finally figured out how to use it. Okay. I am looking for a continuation. We got the abutters letters sent out, but we didn't make it quite into the time frame. So we'll have to push to next month.
And you are?
I am Jacob Lowe.
Okay. Jacob has requested a continuance until 2/5?
Correct?
Yep.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Madam Chair, before the vote, is it possible to get some more information, some drawings or plans or some more description than what's in the single file that we have?
Well, we can ask for it, but,
Yeah, I think that'd be appropriate.
yep. Jacob, can you give us a sketch as to the height and the width, the length of this particular seawall? Is that what you're looking for, Scott?
Yes, and maybe a little bit more description of the materials you're going to use, rebar or
Yeah.
things like that. Just a
I
little.
can give you a little,
Yeah.
little rundown on it.
Okay.
So there's an existing, there is an existing concrete, poured concrete seawall there, just about 3 feet tall. It was poured fairly crudely originally, and the elevation changes about 8 inches from one side of the seawall to the other. And it's causing a lot of erosion on the right-hand side of the property if you're standing on the shore facing the house, looking up towards the house. So essentially what we would be doing is forming either side of the existing wall, which is about 12 inches thick. I can't remember offhand exactly what the length of it is, but the width of the property. And we would be keying in rebar, 18 inches, half-inch rebar every 18 inches, and then just pouring it flat. Probably a total of, at the tallest point, about a foot taller than it is now, and then tapering down to a couple inches on the other side to match up with the neighbor's wall on the left-hand side to try to stave off some of the erosion from their back lawn.
Thank you. So Scott is asking for that type of information to be placed and available for us.
Okay, I can do that.
Some kind of drawing would be nice.
Okay?
Yeah, absolutely.
And then you can just give the information to Christine, and she'll put it online for us to review.
Okay.
Okay, so that does that one. You're right. I have more continueds than I have closed.
So I motion to continue until February 5th.
Yep. So that's the motion to continue until February 5th.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstain, we're gone, good until one more for the 5th. We have Charge Pond Road, Town of Wareham, do they want that continued?
Till the 5th.
Okay, so I'll take a motion to continue I call it 90,
95 Charge Pond Road.
it's not Charge Pond Road, it's Ferring Hill.
So what we're doing is.
I'm sorry, 95 is the address of municipal maintenance.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Right, it's impossible for us to put in a location and viewpoint for road work. That's why the Route 6 one is 0 Marion Road instead of an actual.
Street,
Right.
yeah, Cremisa to,
So we've decided that town projects, whether if they're through town hall, if they're through municipal maintenance, will either get a 54 Marion Road or a 95
right.
Charge Pond. And then we'll run through the description of where they're located.
okay,
But this is the Ferring Hill Road Bridge.
yes,
And they've requested a continuance to 2/5.
okay.
A motion to continue until 2/5?
Second.
I have a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained. We're continued one more until 2/5. We have Cloud at 19 Worrell Ave. Anybody here for that project? Okay.
Madam Chair, can you hear me?
Yes, identify yourself. Oh, hi.
Hi.
Dave.
I'm Dave DeVignan from Schneider DeVignan Leone. I represent Mr. Cloud.
All right, and you were sworn in at the last meeting, so you're good.
Yes, I was, Madam Chair. Actually, it was 2 meetings ago.
Yeah, December 4th, yes.
Yes, we presented the project, answered questions. We continued the hearing due to not having a letter from Natural Heritage and the Endangered Species Program. And I think we continued the last hearing because the letter, I don't think it was issued at that time, and Josh recommended that we continue so the commission would have time to review it. There was a letter issued on December 18th, which states that the project will not adversely affect the actual resource area habitat and will not result in a prohibited take. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions, but we're looking to close out the hearing tonight and get a order of conditions voted on.
All right. We talked about not removing the rocks as being that you were recommending, right?
That is correct, yes.
Christine, do you have sorry, looking at your notes, can you think of anything else we were talking about?
We had talked about building in the existing footprint.
Only within the existing footprint?
Yes.
Yes, which we are.
Okay, Kwame, your questions.
I have none.
Autumn.
No questions, thank you.
Paula Jean.
No questions, thank you.
Scott.
No further questions, thank you.
Okay, Christine, any comments?
Can I ask you a few questions?
Yeah. Yes.
It's still early. We got time. Dave, can you explain why this option is better than, I'd say, a possible alternative of putting in sheet piling? Normally, we see a lot of projects for sheet piles.
Well, sheet piling would require us to vibrate the piles in from the landward side. And quite frankly, if you look at the wall, the bottom half is literally falling apart.
Yeah.
We're trying to preserve the top half of the wall so that we're not looking at a complete demolition of the wall, which would probably triple the cost.
Can you explain the construction methodology of how you're going to install what you're proposing? Because it almost seems for the amount of work you're doing, you could actually bring it back that 18 inches and have a straight wall in line with the existing wall, instead of having that step.
Well, the step, first off, the step that's proposed is within the footprint of the step that still exists. Only the top lip of that step is still there. We're proposing to shear that off and recreate the frontal piece, the lower frontal piece of what existed, what it has existed historically. So we're going to take out the westerly staircase and use that as our construction access. There's no need to have two staircases. The properties are actually joined as one. The second lot is not actually buildable. It's a part of the existing house. Once we take that staircase out, with a mini excavator, we're going to crawl down and start trenching. We're going to pour the wall in three separate pours, beginning with the easterly side and then working our way out of the site back to the westerly side. So we're essentially pouring a lower level wall in front of the existing wall, up and above, slightly above where the existing wall has a frontal piece to it. So the excavator will be crawling along the existing stone that exists in front of the seawall. And originally we thought it was a good idea to pull some of the stone back from the beach and create more beach. But in essence, the letter from Marine Fisheries suggested that the stones be left in place for habitat, which we've agreed to.
So I guess.
So we see this as one option. Even if we were to pour sheet pile or install sheet piles in front of the wall, you still would have that air gap that you have to fill in between that and the seawall. The sheet pile that we typically use would extend at least 12 inches out, which would be very consistent with what we're proposing now. And again, with the vibratory nature of driving in that sheet pile, it's possible we could lose big chunks of the wall collapsing, and then we're back to square one and trying to, rebuild the entire wall, which we're trying to keep this cost effective so that he can do the work.
Sure, understood. So your take on the project is the wall that you're proposing, I'll say in front of the wall, already lands within an existing footprint of a step that was there?
Yes, absolutely, yes.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anything else?
That's all. I'm all set, thank you.
All right, questions for me?
We already did that.
No,
We already did that? See, it's later than I thought. Anybody online or in the audience who would like to speak to this project, comment on this project? I definitely would recommend that when we do approve this, that we include all comments from the Division of Marine Fisheries in the November 18th letter. There are restrictions in there.
The December 18th.
I said November 18th.
Yeah.
I have a November 18th memo.
November 18th.
Okay. All right. All right. Now the comments, Christine, any comments to add?
You don't know the limits of the erosion on that seawall first, because you have this temporary in-cut. Are you going to be looking for that down there as well?
I'm not sure I understand the question.
Sorry. You have the estimated limits of the erosion, but you don't have the depth of the existing wall base right now. And you have a temporary in-cut for when you're putting in the footing.
Yes. We don't know the depth of the existing wall.
All right, so it might be, is there any plan to do anything for the existing wall, or are you just proposing to put?
Sorry, that was my cell phone. We are hopeful to keep the existing wall intact as much as possible, but any loose stone that exists at the base of the wall needs to be removed so that we can pour a monolithic pour between the face of the new wall, meshing in with the existing wall. So we'll be filling in the cavity with concrete back underneath the existing wall, if that makes sense. And then anchoring our new wall to what's left of the upper part of the wall.
All right, I was just wondering if that would cause any more of a temporary alteration to the coastal beach.
No, we don't anticipate having to go any further than what we show in that cross-section.
All right, thanks.
You're welcome.
All right, nobody else online or in the audience?
I motion to close the hearing.
I have a
Second.
motion and a second to close the hearing. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, 400. The hearing is closed. Christine, your recommendations.
Recommend a standard order of conditions with the provisions of the Division of Marine Fisheries letter dated November 18th, 2024.
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained? Dave, you got it.
Thank you for your time.
Before you do any work, get a hold of our conservation agent and get your paperwork, okay?
Will do. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Night. Hey, we closed one.
Yeah, one.
Whoa. Okay, next one is 28 Nelson Street.
So a little update on this one. The commission requested a peer review for this project. We've received the funds. We are in the process of establishing the 53G account, but we have asked for the peer review to go out and review the project. They have done a site visit, and I imagine you'll be getting a letter from them shortly. They are aware that you already continued this to February 5th.
Would someone like to take it out 2 weeks later? Do you want to take it out to the 19th? Would that give them more time? Or do you think the 5th is good enough?
If we're gonna push the continuance, we should run it by the applicant first.
Then we'll keep it the 5th.
Let's keep it the 5th, and I can reach out to the applicant to see if they would have any objections to going to the 19th.
And we had already continued it until 2/5, so it's already on the books for 2/5, so no more action needs to take on this one.
That'd be correct.
All right, we're now down to your turn.
6 Tony's Lane, DEP number 76-2607. This was an order of conditions that allowed for some upgrades to the water pollution control facility. Christine and I did a site visit to the project, and we found the work to be in compliance, and I would recommend the issuance of a certificate of compliance.
So moved. We have that motion.
Second.
And a second, all in favor? Aye. Opposed, abstain. Okay, next, please.
The next project in front of you would be 104 Pinehurst Drive, 762860. I do recognize that the applicant is in the audience. Do you have any desire to come up and speak to the project?
If needed.
I don't believe it would be needed. So Christine and I did a site visit to the project. There was a question of if they could alter the project in minor in scope. I felt it was within the department's purview to allow for the change in the scope of the project. Essentially what they did, if you recall, this project had an impervious patio running from the back of the home directly to the seawall, and there were a few plantings in front of the fence between the coastal beach and the fence on top of the seawall. After having some discussions with the applicant and the contractor doing the work, they felt like it would be better if they had put some crushed stone in that area that was originally those plantings. And looking at the grades of the lawn in the back of the property, that seemed to make sense. So I approved that administratively, and I would say the work that the commission actually required under enforcement order has been completed, and the recommendation would be to issue a certificate of compliance.
So moved.
Second?
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Abstained? All right, 400, done. Next one, please. Continued enforcements, any change on those?
No, and I've, I've asked the building department if they've seen any change in those building permits either, and they haven't. So I think it's worth reaching out to those two individuals and just seeing where they're at in the process. I haven't heard from Eric Grossi in quite a while. And then for 37 Pine Lake Drive, we are aware that the property changed hands, and the new owner of the property is aware that there's an enforcement open, and he said he was going to be working with his engineer to address that. So the last we heard, they were working on a notice of intent. It's now been a few months, so I will quote-unquote poke the bear on these two.
Okay. Anything under the land use coordinator report? Anyone like to add anything in those three?
I don't think so.
Okay. We have, did anybody see the minutes for December 18th? I don't remember seeing them. I know they're on the agenda, but I don't remember seeing them.
We'll take a look into that.
Okay.
It's possible they never got sent.
Now, we have appointments, ratify 12 Candy Street. I forgot what that was for.
For driveway and associated, like, electricity to a little shed, not shed, a platform for a generator. And it was in Riverfront.
Why do we need to ratify it?
Because I had originally given the wrong determination for it. It should have been a -3, -6.
Okay, so this is just to change,
Yes.
okay. Take a motion to change the vote and reason from
From a -3 to a 6?
some of them
It was a -2 and a -6.
It should
And I
be-
believe at the meeting, you guys imposed a condition that the driveway couldn't be paved. And imposing that condition, it really should have been a -3, -6.
So make a motion to make that, to approve that change.
Yeah, and, while we're speaking of this project, the applicant did have an order of conditions for a paved driveway. And under Maura Healy voted or signed into action the Leeds Act, which gave I'll say pretty much all land use permits a 2-year extension. So although you guys had voted not to allow for the paved driveway under the RDA, the order of conditions that was approved is actually still a valid order of conditions.
Okay. Then let's talk jetties.
Do we need to vote to ratify?
I would take a vote to
sorry.
ratify, correct?
I motion to ratify the 12 Kennedy Street determination from a -2 and -6 to a -3 and -6.
Thank you.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Abstained? All right, 400. All right, we were given a handout regarding jetties, and I know that's for the project identified for Hamilton Beach. Hamilton Beach?
Yes.
Is there any, you want to discuss it? Someone talked to me about pros and cons of 2 jetties that they're asking for. I mean, it depends on who you look at, who you read at what time, as to someone, you know, is in favor or not in favor of the use of jetties. It really does impact the flow of sand, correct?
Yes.
It builds up on one side and digs out the other side. Are these jetties considered part of the waterway into Wareham River and Harbor? I mean, it's, you go by them, boating in and out, they're really not, nowhere near the Nun in the Can, so is it considered an impact into our waterways?
Into the waterway, no. I think if you were going to ask from a navigational standpoint, there would be no impact. I think a lot of the information that we shared and a lot of the information that we actually found, you know, I think the main goal of jetties is to maintain navigation through inlets and outlets along the coast.
Yes.
And, you know, a lot of the larger projects that require jetties always have a sand bypass system. You know, the active projects that we could identify are large scale. You're talking container ships, going to big ports, and the sand bypass systems are usually mechanical in nature, meaning they create a slurry of the sand through piping, and they move it underground or under the channels to the other side of the jetty, or to the other side of the inlet or outlet.
Which is out of the scope, really out of the scope of the two being requested to be rebuilt.
Right, and DMF, I think, you know, trying to take large scale, well, not DMF, CZM, trying to take a large-scale project and shrink it down to the projects that you would see here. Their mitigation for that would be beach nourishment on the side that is actually being cut out.
But if you take a look at the 2 locations, they're all on Hamilton Beach, so I could build up on one side and take away in the other, and then build up and take away. I mean, they have a lot of issues in Hamilton with their sand shifting constantly with that tide going in and out of the river.
Yeah, and you guys have, you know, very recently approved a project for a large amount of beach nourishment.
Which would be on the riverside on the smaller riverside as opposed to the Wareham riverside.
Right.
What do they go down? What's the river they're on? No, they're not on Agawam.
Broad Marsh.
Thank you. On the way to the high school, that's a good way to put it. The little river going to the high school is one thing versus the river coming in and out of Wareham. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's likely that the beach that you approved nourishment for would see less action in terms of sediment removal than these 2 jetties. I think I hate to call it an argument, but further down the coastline, the commission had approved a jetty years before I was here. And I would say that you're seeing exactly what you would have expected to see.
High on one side and dug out the other.
High on one side, dug out the other. There is new salt marsh in that area because of it, but it's possible that's only because it's in a transitional period currently. It could build up so much that salt marsh would cease to exist there.
If we were to approve these 2 jetties, would it have an impact on the navigational? Because if they have permission to dredge, will this change the flow of sand into the channel? Not really. We're that far away from the navigational.
Excuse me, just to be clear, we're not talking about a specific project now, we're talking about jetties in general, correct?
We have a project that came before us at the last meeting, not as a formal project, but that came before us for information as to whether or not we would or would not approve jetties, and we said we needed to talk about
jetties in general.
Well, jetties in general, but I'm thinking more specifically for the two that are being requested off of Hamilton.
Well, I think before we can consider those specifically, we need to have plans and so on. And to get
Yes.
to that point, we need to let them know whether we would even consider
That's-
jetties based on this conversation right
That's-
now.
That's what they're asking us to do, is to give them a hint as to whether or not we would approve them, so they can put the money into the engineering plans they need.
Right, so we need to just limit our discussion now to the jetties in general and not a specific project.
All right.
Otherwise, we'd have to open a hearing and all
No,
that kind of
yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
Yeah.
So ignore my comments about Hamilton Beach.
Okay.
So what about an area that's mapped to shellfish area? What would be the impact of jetty construction or groin construction where there is shellfish, known shellfish?
So the jetty or groin itself would be a loss of habitat. And then it's possible that where you're seeing sand build up and where you're seeing sand taken away could have an impact on habitat as well.
So in general, then, the jetty is going to negatively impact shellfish areas?
Yep. Yep.
So also with jetties too, is that you're looking at a lot of beach nourishment sometimes, maybe most, and also ownership too, right? I mean, who's gonna pay for and maintain it? Is it an association? Is it you?
It's not me. Yeah, it would be the property owner, so.
Oh, association,
Yeah.
right.
Hamilton Beach
Yeah.
Association.
Well, whoever
Sorry,
owns the
Whoever owns the
property.
property.
Yes.
Okay, so it's plus minus, you know.
It
could
is, plus
be-
or minus.
And I will say, a lot of the conversations I have with people about beach nourishment is it's sacrificial.
Yeah.
You are throwing money at a problem that you will not solve.
Isn't it also true that the effects of jetties and groins aren't just local? So you get scouring on one side and build up on the other, but they have downstream effects in other places along the coast, wherever the tidal effects can be found.
Yeah, it's definitely possible. And let's try to keep this not project specific. There are areas in Wareham, I'll say along North Water Street, where there's accusations that a lot of that material is ending up at a property that you guys have approved dredging at. So, you know, that's kind of a more larger scale of where you're seeing sediment go from one area, I would say a substantial distance, to where it's created another issue of, you know, now you've approved a project for dredging.
So it would be difficult for this body to make a decision about local effects unless we had a lot more expert hydrological information, or I'm not sure who would be able to do that, hydrogeological information about effects further from the local site.
Yeah, and I would say you are sailing into uncharted waters in a way. I don't know who would be the qualified individual to speak to large-scale sediment movement.
Or if the town would approve $100,000 for us to hire expert witness, or expert scientist to inform us of that.
Only if you end up in litigation.
Right. Which we don't want to do.
Oh, wait, 1 second. Are you here for a reason?
I thought Faring Hill was being discussed tonight.
Faring Hill?
No. So there was a little bit of confusion on this only because you guys are actually executing the order of conditions for that tonight.
We are?
Yeah. We've already agreed
Did I
to
miss it?
No, this was the stipulations and guidelines you, I, and Rich Bowen had agreed to.
Where is it on the agenda?
You guys are simply just signing the order of conditions tonight. There's
Okay,
no discussion
sorry.
of the project.
We'll get to it. Amy, right? I thought, said myself, yeah, okay. All right, sorry. So continue your discussions on jetties.
I just want to ask if this is correct. So in a nutshell, no matter how we rule about a jetty, we're just enabling someone to fight nature. You can take it away, but it's going to come back over here. You can take this sand and put it here, and if the water and the tides are going to do what they want. So
Yeah, and
we're enabling people to spend their money on a fruitless endeavor.
I mean, I think that's a great question to ask to Sandy. You've been in Wareham a very long time. How many of the beaches have remained the same over the years?
None.
And actually, one of the,
Oh, except for Little Harbor, that hasn't changed.
and I would even say Little Harbor is unique because of how shallow it is for such a great distance. Actually, one of the greatest interventions that has happened is at Hamilton Beach, and it's simply that they put up snow fences in the winter to prevent the loss of sedimentation.
Right.
But it's by wind action, though, not by tidal action. Is that right?
Yeah, that's more wind-driven than it is tidal. But you know, when you assess the effect of Mother Nature on dunes, the first thing they say is tidal and wind action. So you know, it definitely plays a part.
So yes, that
Yes,
sums it
the
up.
simple
In a
answer is
nutshell,
yes.
okay,
You're correct.
Thank you.
Anything else? Does that give you some hint? Aren't you here for Hamilton?
Oh,
No,
no, I
no.
like to listen to your meetings and have nothing else to do.
Okay, so I don't know. And the recommendation that somewhere they're going to come to us and they may hear this discussion and take it as it is discussed, as opposed we're not doing anything specific for a project. All right, is there anything else on the agenda? You have something for Faring Hill.
Yeah, I'd be happy to speak to
Please talk
it.
to us.
So there was discussion, how far back do you want me to go?
Well, one,
All the way?
Abridged.
how about we denied the project and start with that?
Okay, so I'll start with
Is that all right? We denied the project, start with that.
All right, and I'll try to keep it brief. So the Conservation Commission originally denied a project for a solar field located on Ferry Hill Road. Your denial made claims that work in the buffer zone would impact the wetland resources that were adjacent to it. The applicant then appealed your decision to Mass DEP and the decision under your bylaw through court, Superior Court. Mass DEP, after multiple site visits, issued a superseding order of conditions for approval of the project. So that was, I'll say, part of an approval that they had needed to acquire. The second part of the approval is against our bylaw. At a meeting, it was determined that the chair of the commission, myself, and town council would meet with opposing council to discuss conditions on the project and come to a resolution. We had asked the commission for conditions that they would like to see in some type of mediation, and we brought those to opposing council. Throughout those talks, we sought resolution, and what we agreed to was a set of conditions that you guys will be signing the order of conditions for tonight. When we were looking at those conditions, some of them included UMass Dartmouth had created a guidance / program that applicants for solar development could apply to and reach certain standards of. That was one of the conditions that we wanted to uphold on the project. But in doing some research, we found that they had abandoned that project and not really updated anything in 2 years.
And that project was geared to the vegetation that would be under the solar panels.
That's correct. So we talked about the 2 approvals that were required. The one that you're going to act on tonight is focused specifically on the bylaw. The one that went to Mass DEP was approved with a superseding order of conditions. That superseding order of conditions was then appealed by a group of residents, and that went in front of the appellate board of the state. And they, I believe, are still in talks. The group of citizens that appealed wanted their wetland scientist to go out and review the wetland line, as that was one of their claims to a failure of Mass DEP when they issued their superseding order of conditions. This project is going to be opening, I think, for the 3rd time in front of the planning board. And the reason I say it's the 3rd time is because the planning board would require a supermajority of the board to actually vote on it. And there have been
Changes in personnel.
yeah, changes in the planning board. I think one of them actually made it impossible for the planning board to actually vote on the application. And the other one was a decision by the applicant feeling that 5 votes are better than 4, or 5 voters are better than 4, when you require 4 votes for approval. So they are going in front of the planning board for site plan review and special permit. And those hearings will be starting actually January 27th, I believe. So that's where we're at.
Questions? Comments?
Madam Chair, I do have 2 individuals online that have raised their hand to speak. This is not an open hearing, so that is to your discretion.
This is not an open hearing.
It's not an open hearing. You can approve their questions if they seem out of line. That's under your discretion. But if you want to allow them to speak to it, it is within your purview.
All right. Please let them in one at a time and limit it to 2 minutes, and we'll listen to their comments. And I don't think we'll respond, we'll listen to their comments. One at a time.
Thanks for taking my question. This is Catherine Harrelson with Community Land and Water Coalition, a Plymouth-based nonprofit organization. And my question is that the original notice of intent was denied an order of conditions by the Conservation Commission back in 2022 through a public hearing process that involved public comment. And then this would be the issuance of an order of conditions that has site-specific conditions for the project. So is this order of conditions subject to reopening the public hearing process for the notice of intent for this application?
It is not. Under advice of town council, through the litigation process, we don't have to reopen the public hearing for this project.
Thanks for taking my call.
Next, please. Hi, Kathy.
I think I unmuted.
You unmuted.
Okay.
Your comments, please.
Well, my comment was I lost sound on the computer. I quickly sent you a text. I said I can't hear anything, so we turned the TV on and futzed with the computer, and now I have sound. I would say that I'm extremely disappointed that back property is already wetlands that wouldn't be allowed to be developed anyway. So giving it up really doesn't benefit anybody. It's 9 acres of pretty much swamp, depending on the time of the year that you're there.
Sorry, Kathy, I think you're speaking with the commission having a lack of background. One of the conditions we put on the project is the site, I would say, runs perpendicular with Ferring Hill Road. There's a part where it cuts parallel and then perpendicular, and that offshoot in the back of the property
That
is
square,
about
yeah.
nine, give or take, acres. And one of the conditions that was agreed to is that they put that in a deed restriction in perpetuity so that it could never be developed.
Preston versus Shanahan.
Kathy is right. Most of that deed restricted property is wetland. There is a upland peninsula inside of it. The deed restriction, I would say, gives a little bit more of a buffer to those wetland areas than what you normally would have had. But her comments are accurate.
Yep.
Has the property owner agreed to it?
So if the property owner fails to agree with it, our order of conditions that is being issued would be null and void. We require a site plan showing that a deed restricted site plan is recorded with the Registry of Deeds.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Thank you. John, anybody else?
May I make a comment?
Amy, come up and introduce yourself.
My name is Amy Tamaginney, and I'm a resident of Wareham. And I just wrote something a little bit about how I feel about the solar development of Ferring Hill. So is that something I can read, or is that?
Only if it's Associated Conservation, what we are privy to. Josh?
May I suggest that you save your comments and present them to the planning board?
Okay.
Because they will focus on the solar fields. We're only talking about the small section that's part of our overview.
Okay.
And if you would like to put your comments in writing to the planning board, you can email them to the planning department, and we'll make sure they become part of the public record.
Okay.
And thank you for staying for so long.
Sure. Thank you for allowing me to come up.
Next. That does it? Any other questions on this one? Anything else on the agenda?
I want to state that I haven't yet been reimbursed.
Oh, that's what I was going to say. It's been 2 years, they don't have their money yet. Who do I complain to? They're not being loud enough.
Come down to my office and we'll handle, sorry, Sandy, come down to my office tomorrow and we'll handle it. We'll go and complain to the proper channel. You're right.
Accounting or further?
No, I think you're correct. We'll take care of it. Come down to my office tomorrow and we'll.
Okay, I was going up to say goodbye to Nina, who's leaving us after 7 years in the accounting department, to go back to school. Yay for her.
Yeah.
So I'll be by.
So we shouldn't just deduct it from our next tax bill, huh?
I know,
If you
folks,
want, I'll talk to the assessor about doing that.
I know it's several hundred, I know it's several $100 and it's 2 years.
Interesting.
It's ridiculous. It's-
The matter of
I'm
principle.
sorry, if anybody's listening to me, it's ridiculous.
I'm listening, Sandy.
Oh, all
I
right,
am also listening.
I heard you.
all right. Then we'll go see Judy together tomorrow.
Sounds like a plan.
Judy, wait for us.
Something tells me Judy doesn't watch our meetings.
But somebody might know, Judy might know that, okay.
That's accurate.
All right. There's probably nobody left online, John?
There's 4 people.
Oh, okay.
The grapevine.
Anything else? If that's the case,
I motion to adjourn.
Second.
at
8:19.
8:19, I have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Done. Thank you very much, and
you.
we have paperwork to sign.